podcast, The Working Poor. I'm Austin Phelps, and I'm joined tonight by my co-host, Peace Mazelis, Cindi Halkola, and Dan Mazelis. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started.
With the working poor and the rest of America experiencing the aftermath of the coronavirus, I feel it's only appropriate, that we start with that subject. I know we kind of went on about it a lot last week, but it looks like that's just kind of the basis, even though we aren't just a coronavirus podcast, but yeah. So we know that the Senate and House have passed the coronavirus stimulus package. So how is everyone feeling about this?
It has to be done. I understand that we almost got $600 instead of $1,200. So I'm happy with 12.
This is the third package that has been brought to the table, right?
Yeah, the Republicans put one out that the Democrats refused. The Democrats put one out, the Republicans refused, and then this is the one they compromised with.
And what Bernie was saying in that video is that there's a fourth one being worked on that is going to be brought to the table within the next few weeks or possibly next month.
And that one's going to be bigger. The one they just passed is more for, it's a Band-Aid for Americans, but it's more for corporations. It's a big corporate bailout package.
And when the Democrats drafted their proposal, they were arguing for $1,500 to be set, and now we've compromised on the $1,200. I'm just, a little annoyed and confused with that. Like, is anyone else? Like, it's like we had, our side, and then I just feel like the $1,500 was always just like a way for them to say, well, we're fighting for you, even though they were fighting for their interests. And I'm not trying to just blame this on the Democrats, because I feel like this was a partisan issue, obviously, like Dan said, with the corporations, it being a bailout. But the median we met.
That sacrifice was made to $1,200, but in exchange for that, we were able to get $600 extra unemployment for people that are out of work. So I think that's a fair trade-off. I'll go from 15 to 12 to provide more assistance to the people who need it more. I think the real criminal piece of the whole thing is the corporate bailout and the lack of oversight that's attached to it.
And that's the thing, like the stimulus package, it should have been separated in the beginning. Like, there's no reason that the money we're getting, us, average Americans, the working poor, should be lumped in with funds that are being given to large corporations and their political interests. So instead of making this a debate about which party's interest would be served, like the Congress and the Senate should have said, here's a stimulus package for the American people. Let's get that worked out first. Let's give them their money. And then a separate stimulus package, they could have worked out whichever businesses and whichever airlines they needed to bail out. But yeah, they wouldn't do that because their plan was to sneak in a bunch of this shit like the American people, the working poor, wouldn't even notice. Because, now everybody's blinded by the $1,200 check, which should have been more in the first place. But I do agree that the $600 in unemployment is definitely a great step. And I know there were some Republicans even talking against that, some people then will be getting more than they would have gotten type of thing. And I know, Dan, you sent that video to the chat, and Bernie ended up kind of arguing that, saying that who cares if they get a little more, and it's about time. And it's just sad that it's a crisis that forces that to come out.
Where did they get the money from? Did they just say the myth, make some more cash? Where did it come from?
They're dumping $1 trillion a day into the Wall Street. Money's made up. It's crazy. This is our grandchildren's and great-grandchildren's debt. Is what it is.
Oh, okay. So just more deficit money.
So according to Politico, it looks like they will be allotting $100 billion toward hospitals, $58 billion toward the airlines. The state and local governments are getting $150 billion. So the Defense Department would field an infusion of $10.5 billion, including $1.5 billion for the National Guard to deploy up to 20,000 on-call soldiers to help state response teams fight the coronavirus over the next 6 months. So I don't want to keep going on with, these are just a couple things that it seems like they are funding.
What's good about the airline package? They must have been listening to our podcast last week because they took my advice about we're getting some options from the airlines out of that money. It's not all just grant. The government's going to take a piece of the airline, so it only makes sense. I
Oh,
mean, it's our money.
they did hear you.
We've got a voice here on the Working For, and it's already getting out. Second episode in. Thank you, Dan. Moving the conversation along. The lives of the working poor have been the most impacted from the coronavirus. So, being that we represent the working poor, and I know that 3 out of 4 of us, once again, are out working at their jobs, and I was laid off. What has it been like? How has how has your workplace been further impacted? And I know Dan and Peace, you both work at a grocery store. You're on the front lines right now, so.
We also have very different experiences there because I work overnight. I have a lot less contact. I have very minimal contact with people in general, which is the ideal place to be if you got to be there,
And yeah, I'm for my shift, which I work the afternoon closing shift. It is just completely different. I'm completely exposed to people all the time. The store itself fluctuates from days when it's really busy and not busy. But even so, we're no longer servicing customers in the deli, which is my department, over the counter. So everything is pre-ordered. So we're having very limited interaction with customers. And the rest of the day is, just cleaning, sanitizing. The last couple days I was in the back room lugging huge boxes up and down, this ladder to clean the risers in the back room and scrub them clean. And, it was hard work that is outside of my union, but with all the perks that we're getting, like a $2 an hour shift differential, they're relaxing a lot of the rules that they formerly held in place where we weren't supposed to work outside of our union, but now we're able to, and a lot more is being held on our shoulders.
Just so people understand, there's in the supermarket, there's 2 unions. The meat and deli and fish all have one union. They're part of the butcher's union, and then the rest of the store is everybody else.
So, has your union raised awareness to the fact that you're performing tasks that are out of your normally assigned duties?
Well, that's
We're
the thing.
bad.
That's the thing. Under normal circumstances, there would be an issue there, but I don't know what sort of deal was made or if they are just relaxing the rule because they know that in order for the store to stay open, they need so many people working on all ends. We're really functioning at an emergency level. It's definitely not a full function store. So, a lot of adjustments need to be made. And, we're all aware of that, which is why it's not necessarily a huge problem, so to speak. People aren't threatening to strike or anything like that because, we all understand that these are unprecedented times. But at the same time, it's a huge extra workload that, we never signed up for to begin with.
And they have everybody learning shop from home. And I think what we're going to see in the coming days is as cases start to grow out here, is I think they're going to close the store off to customers, and it's just going to all be shop from home. You can order online and come pick it up, and the staff will be doing the shopping for the customers just to keep them out of the store. I think we're going to see that happen.
I just wonder how realistic that's gonna be. I mean, go
Talk
ahead.
about realistic, Dan. Do you offhand, as of yesterday, do you know offhand how backed up we are on shop from home orders?
I don't know. I'm really not in the loop on that, but I know everybody's got to learn it.
we're 4 weeks out on orders. You can't order for 4 weeks out.
Oh my.
And they need the way to improve that is to get more people working in it. So I think that's the goal.
And that's definitely what it seems like they're working towards.
Cindi, I know that you work in the healthcare industry. I know that we all know that you work with the elderly. How have precautions changed? And I know we kind of went into it last week, but how have they changed since we just keep getting further and further into this?
Well, I've initiated doing our shopping from home with their grocery store that they've been talking about. And when I went to reserve my time slot, it said it was sold out until March 31st, and you couldn't get into April even to see if it was how long it was going to be. So 4 weeks in is it's good to know.
That's the inside info for you.
Yes, I appreciate that. I had to do manual shopping, and I didn't like it. I have to spend $300 minimum worth of groceries each time I go. So it's a lot of groceries. The residents, because they're elderly, are in shelter. They're staying home. So I did it by myself, which is fine. But it was being around people that I didn't like. Because of this coronavirus and the amount of people, and it's funny because grocery shopping, there's usually 5 people in your aisle with you, and everybody was keeping their distance from each other, which was good. It was nice to see, but still I felt like I wanted a shower when I left there. On a daily basis, we have to take, all staff members are the only ones coming and going into the home. We have to take our temperatures and sign a paper saying that we have no symptoms every day, and every shift, every person that comes in. Visitors have to do the same thing. We have to take their temperature. They have to sign a form, saying also they can waive their privacy, or we can do it privately with them. But it's a big form.
Has there been any restrictions on visitors?
Yeah, we weren't getting any visitors, but then they gave us this paper for visitors to sign. So I guess we can get visitors now.
Are there any rules with contact with patients or anything with visitors?
No restrictions for contact, as long as they sign the paper and we take their temperature and it's not 100.4 or above. And what's even scarier is, out of our 5 residents who live in the group home, one of them has been at a rehabilitation center because he was in a hospital. And so now he's been in rehab for over a month. And they're talking about him coming home. He won't be tested for the coronavirus beforehand. Every day they take his temperature, so they say he's fine, but he will not be tested before he comes home, which I find ridiculous. And especially since that rehabilitation center has been on lockdown. They weren't allowing any visitors in. Nobody could go out, and yet he can leave there and come home, and there's no test being done. He should be tested, I think.
Definitely.
Are you using any PPE there?
Well, rubber gloves are about the only thing that we're using. If we're sick, we wear a mask, but we have masks, but that's only for if we're sick. We're taking the residents' temperatures every day. We're low on Clorox wipes. We're low on Lysol sanitizing spray, disinfectant, bleach items, and even when I went to the grocery store to buy it, they were out. And the food, the restriction on the food. We buy frozen vegetables, and we use 2 bags per meal because there's 5 of them. And so there was only 4 kinds of vegetables. They had beans, carrots, okra, and collard greens. So I got 4 bags of carrots. At the checkout line, the cashier had a big basket, and he said, "I'm sorry," he said, "but I have to put these back." And he put them in his cart. It was pretty loaded with refused items. He said, "Because there's a limit." And I didn't see the sign in the frozen because it was so barren to begin with that I wasn't paying attention to reading. I was paying attention to what vegetables I can get. So anyway, I ended up taking home one small bag of carrots and 2 bags of beans for 2 weeks worth of meals.
Yikes.
Yeah. But next time I go, I'm going to buy cans.
There's no warning at all for any of this.
Yeah, I
No,
get the
they
need.
do have signs up in some places in the grocery store.
They've got signs up and they do the best they can, but I mean, these are major changes on a store that has overly prided itself on customer service. We're going completely the opposite direction overnight. Signs can only do so much for that. There's a lot of, it's very unexpected.
I get the need to limit purchases because of hoarding and stuff, but all they're doing is encouraging people to come back every day.
Right. I even asked, can I buy those 3 bags of carrots in another sale? Because I was the only one in line at this point. And but he said no. I would have to come back the next day.
Trump was on Hannity last night. I don't know if anyone saw that. And he said, this is almost over. We're going to go back to work soon. We had the biggest lines waiting outside the door today. People listen to him.
Yeah, I know the ShopRite that I drove past today the parking lot was full at 9 o'clock. The parking lot was full. And I couldn't, it was like, wow, they told me if you're going to go grocery shopping, go early. But at 9 o'clock for a full parking lot when we're quarantined, it seemed abundant.
And there's such mixed messages when it comes to quarantining and to the precautions. I mean, you're told to not hoard, like we were just saying, you can only buy 1 bag of carrots, but then you're also told, to get groceries that are going to last you for, a couple days, so you don't have to go every day. And then there's the whole Trump now wants to reopen the economy coming up, at least in certain places, he said. And then we have scientists and doctors saying, well, this probably isn't the best idea right now. It'll just start a bigger spread. So and then when it comes to just us even getting tested or something, it's, stay at home and, quarantine yourself. But, you're also, and then there's, the message that we're also told that we're allowed to get tested. But, I've read so many posts of people that have experienced these symptoms and they're not allowed to. And this is, something, we've talked about, people are talking about, but there's just such a mixed signal when it comes to what we're supposed to do. And it's confusing. And I think that if Donald Trump says, hey, let's reopen the country, there are going to be so many people that are rejoiced in that fact. And so I guess that's just leading to our next subject here. What does everybody think of the idea of reopening the economy? Donald Trump has said he's wanted to do so by Easter Sunday here in April. So what is the panel's opinion?
He wants everyone in church on Easter Sunday. He's going to be taking attendance.
And I believe Easter Sunday is April 12th. So that's 2 weeks away.
April 12th. Yep, I just Googled it. We got Google on the podcast.
If he were a trustworthy president, it would be okay. But he tells a lie, he lies about the lie, and he's always contradicting himself and making up excuses for himself, and his supporters are right there saying, oh, no. Don't listen to what he says. Think about what he means. He's the president of the United States. We need somebody trustworthy. for this president to say, hey, it's all clear. Shut up, Dr. Fauci. You don't know, Fauci. You don't know what you're talking about. We're clear. We're clear. We got to build this economy. And then all the supporters are like, all right, we're there. I'm not. I'm going to be very cautious and maybe even get screwed.
And I have to say, we do have to really be working on finding a way to reopen the economy and find a way back to at least a new normalcy, because I doubt that things get back to completely normal for even years at this point, before people are even comfortable to interact with other people on that close level again.
Yeah.
And I don't think that just reopening everything and saying that everything is okay is not going to make everything okay. I think that it's very scary to just go ahead and do that. But I do understand the sense of urgency there, that we do need to get this taken care of soon, immediately.
We do. And like ASAP, definitely. Because even the mental illness, the mental health issues are, they're up there because everybody is quarantined. They're isolated. If they were depressed to begin with, now they're isolated with depression, and that's even worse. It makes their feelings worse. That'll be another problem to deal with, is mental health issues. So when I asked where this money's coming from for this stimulus, and it was answered that it's just being pulled out of our deficit, basically, going deeper in the hole. Bernie's plan would not have brought us deeper in the hole. It would have revamped the whole thing.
Yeah, well, if we elected Bernie in 2016, this would be a totally different story.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it definitely would. Absolutely.
And I guess, I know it's kind of a little bit off topic, but I guess Joe Biden has kind of came out and said that he's, done with debates. And I know that, there was supposed to be another one. And I guess, Bernie, it was reported that he was, still interested in it. And he is still going forward with this campaign. And I think that Joe Biden is obviously, playing it safe. And, it's just, disgusting that they're still shutting Bernie out.
It's still on for April. It's still on.
But Joe Biden doesn't want to participate.
Yeah, well, he's saying it's not necessary, but it's good. It'll happen. It'll come down to it. I mean, it's still a few weeks away, but it'll happen. I'm pretty sure. And and the whole media trust is at an all-time low. We have no leadership in the White House, and that's the reason for all this panic and all this confusion. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what to believe. There's a million different stories. Everybody will tell you. You can hear it from it's nothing to it's everything. So nobody knows. That's what makes this such an unprecedented time. And I think time is going to show us that Bernie's plans were the right ones. And we're going to, New York is over 44,000 cases today. It doubles every 3 days.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Bernie's plans are the plans that are being enacted right now. We're covering sick leave, and we're covering medical costs for the coronavirus. We're giving the average American worker stimulus to help make sure that we're not just getting even more and more poor from this. So Bernie's ideas are the ones that we're using right now, and nobody wants to give him credit, and everybody wants to call him crazy. And now we've ostracized him here in this Democratic campaign. So it's just really gross how it's all been dealt with.
Well, but I just think in the aftermath, more people are going to see that Bernie's plans.
Oh yeah.
I mean, New York City right now is on a trajectory worse than Italy's, and Italy is devastated. So the bodies are going to be piling up soon, and it's young people. And New York City's all young people.
And I really hope it happens, but too, you just have to think that I just feel like there's the possibility that this could happen in a year. A bunch of people die. It doesn't matter. We come up with a vaccine. There's still going to be people denying the impact. I feel like it could just, I really hope that this creates change, but it just makes you think that what if we just, once again, there's never been the extent of this, in recent years. Like Ebola, it didn't impact the United States as much or anything, but it seems like every time after this, we always just say, well, let's go back to normal and we don't have to prepare for that. But hopefully it does change. I'm just worried it won't.
It's unprecedented. And I mean, people are not, I mean, the rest of the world sees what's going on. There's like 380,000 cases in the world, I think, and 100,000 of them are here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And we had the most time to prepare. We knew about this in January.
Yep.
And we did nothing. And that's why it's exploding. And it's only going to get worse.
President Trump said it was no big deal.
Exactly.
It was going to go away in the spring as soon as the weather got better.
Sorry, last night on Hannity, he was saying it's no big deal. He's still saying it.
Oh, my gosh. He talks through his ass, and his supporters believe him like it's spoken word. And how they can forget what he just said an hour ago that contradicted it, I don't understand.
Well, it's going to be a painful lesson. I think this is what it had to come to. I mean, he's always been a house of cards, and he's bullshitted his way through his whole first term.
Yep.
And I mean, it's going to come down. It has to.
I don't know. He does have a lot of supporters.
Well, when their supporters' families are part of the bodies piling up on the streets, then they'll start to see things differently.
So we're talking a lot about we're talking a lot about Donald Trump supporters, and we also just now talking about also Bernie Sanders, and the idea that he does represent Bernie, that he represents this anti-establishment view, which we kind of all in a way look for in a candidate, I'd say. Why do you think people are voting then for Donald Trump in that same with that same ideology that I'm voting for the anti-establishment candidate? Why are some members of the working poor going to Donald Trump, who's not advocating for 15 an hour, while Bernie Sanders is? What's the the holdup?
Because the reason Trump is considered an anti-establishment candidate is because he talks directly to his people and he says the right things. The problem is his actions are the opposite. He got elected on an anti-war message. He wanted to get out of these other countries, and he's made it worse.
And George Bush did the same thing in the 2000 election. Ran on
The thing with Trump supporters is they listen to him. They listen to what he tells them. They don't watch the news. They don't listen to. They don't watch his actions. They don't know what the Congress is doing. They don't know any of that stuff. They just listen to what he says.
Because everything else is fake news.
Yeah.
Yep. And he's a conspiracy guy. He's a conspiracy theorist. So a lot of the Trump supporters are seeing the corruption in the DNC and everything else, and buying into his conspiracy theories.
They make it easy for him. The media lying and the DNC trickery make it easy for Trump to call them out.
Yep.
And he's not wrong.
And it's so annoying because with Donald Trump always claiming everything's a conspiracy and everything, it makes it harder than for, in this instance with Bernie Sanders, for us to be able to call the DNC out for it, because Donald Trump is using that same rhetoric, saying the DNC is trying to cheat Bernie. So when we've got Donald Trump saying the same thing, it muddies it all down. It makes it dirty. And it's like, why is that? Why does Donald Trump align himself with Bernie Sanders? And why did 1 in 10 Bernie Sanders, according to this NPR article, vote 1 in 10 Bernie Sanders supporters vote for Donald Trump in 2016? Why is this?
That answers both questions, because they're both populist candidates. And Trump knows his only threat is another populist. He knows he can beat any establishment candidate because people are sick of the establishment.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then he knows he got 1 in 10 Bernie supporters. So yeah, make friends with those guys. Add him to his base.
Yeah, because Bernie didn't run in 2016. He was taken out by the DNC, Hillary, and so who did they have to vote for? The corrupt DNC, the epitome of a politician, Hillary, or Trump?
Trump's not going to be president. They're not going to let him be president. And I don't know that he would be a successful president anyway, but it's what comes after. And I will not vote for Biden.
No.
And I'm on the same page. I'm not voting for Biden. I don't expect Bernie to make it to the general election. I will vote for him in the primaries, but in the meantime, I'm waiting for somebody else to pop up as a third party. I'm waiting for, like I said last week, maybe even new parties that we've never seen before with real anti-establishment people. You
If
know, we
thousand.
don't know what's going to happen, and that's what I'm looking forward to. But I'm not looking forward to Biden versus Trump,
Yeah.
even though it's probably going to end up being Trump if it comes to that. But,
Yeah.
predictions are just that. I've never usually been right with my predictions, so I'm done making them.
That Governor Cuomo he has a presidential air about him when he speaks, the way he's handling this, the way he's talking to the people, the way he's saying that he's working with Trump and Trump is being very gracious. That's a wonderful thing to hear when Trump has us at odds with each other. I don't know if Cuomo would run. He's got his hands full with this coronavirus, no doubt. But, there's got to be better people out there that we could be voting for, better than Trump, better than Biden.
And the governors have been the ones who have completely been handling this. I mean, it's just unreal that ever since 2016, the governors have, like, the average governor. I mean, the idea of governorship, in the United States isn't the same as it was before 2016. Now, like, I know our governor here, J.B. Pritzker. He's done, I feel like, a very well job just putting a lot of this together, and with the stay-at-home order. I know we were one of the first states to implement one. So it's just, the governors are really handling it well. There is such like news focused around New York City, as you mentioned, Cindy. What is everybody's thoughts on this? Obviously, it's the epicenter of the coronavirus, and why is it so high in New York and not somewhere like Los Angeles?
Well, I think New York is the populace and the
I think
congestion.
New York is definitely more densely populated.
It's an international hub. Everybody's in and out of New York.
Ah, that's true. Yep, I have a friend who's also in the front lines with us. She's working poor too, and her job is to deliver food in New York City, even though she
Wow.
lives here in New Jersey, or actually Pennsylvania. And so she's driving to New York City, and she videotaped it, the ride, the drive-in. There was no cars. Every once in a while, you'd see one car drive past her. And, she said, I'm here on 32nd Street. It's just me and a cop.
Did she get stopped by the police? Does she get questioned, or does she have a sign in her window or something that says what she's doing, or how is she able?
She has a certificate. I have a letter. Her certificate says that she's an essential employee, and as does my letter, with a phone number for them to call if they have any questions. That's what we can show to the police if they should stop us and question us. But she did not get stopped in New York City.
Yeah.
Dan and I have one of those too.
Yep.
It's interesting because I have being in the Midwest, being here in Southern Illinois, I have no idea what you guys are talking about with this registration pass to go into New York City. Like, it's so interesting because I hear you all, and it's, the contrast here, it almost seemed like we're all from the same place. But you guys are from New Jersey. I'm from Illinois, Southern Illinois. So it's just so interesting because I feel like the precautions just feel so much higher up there. And I know right now, I haven't mentioned this, but right now I'm staying with my mom in in her apartment, and her neighbor works at Walmart. She's actually like kind of our family. Long story. That sounds really white trash, but she's kind of a part of our family. But she lives next door, and she works at Walmart, and she was just tested for the coronavirus because one of the employees there ended up coming back from Chicago, ended up testing positive, and also there's a person at the campus that I go to, Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, that we've just now had our first case there, and they are quarantining them in the West Campus housing. So it's very much getting closer here. Like I said, rural America's like where I'm at, Southern Illinois. So it's just so much. It's, we're Trump County. I'm a stray here in Trump County. Nobody is taking it as serious. And it's interesting, and it's also scary.
I saw 2 memes on Facebook. The one said, "We closed schools, restaurants, and churches. Then we all went to Walmart."
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happens. Either close it or keep it open, because this half and half stuff, like you're talking about rural and urban places, and even just within each, you can't close all this stuff and leave this big conglomerate open that
And honestly, that ties back to the thing we were talking about earlier with this corporate bailout. Companies like Walmart are making money hand over fist right now. They're the only game in town, so everybody's there, and they're making crazy money, and they're part of this corporate bailout. They're getting money on top of that money that they're making. It's crazy.
Yeah. Have you seen your hazard pay? Your extra money? Has it been in your paycheck yet?
It should be in our next paycheck.
Yeah, next paycheck is when we'll see it.
Okay, because we're supposed to be getting it too, and now I'm not sure when. It's not this paycheck. It might be next paycheck, but I heard that we weren't going to get it until May. So I don't know. Hopefully we get it next paycheck.
Yeah, I was told we'll get it next paycheck.
Okay. That's good. Maybe we will too then. And even that, it's only $2 more an hour. It still doesn't bring me up to 15.
I feel like, just taking a second to just bring up this whole, what are universities doing, and being a college student, that's a part of the working poor, and depending on like my student job, losing it's been like a real impact. And so I, living day by day, wondering, this is how the whole situation's been like for every one of us. I feel like it's just day by day, taking it as is. And a couple weeks ago, I remember just coming into work and my boss saying, well, they're closing down campus, classes are going online, maybe for the rest of the semester, maybe not. Then the next day, it's, well, now we're closing the university housing offices, people can still live here, we don't know about classes. And now it's, yep, classes are for sure going to be online for the rest of the semester. We are also taking the steps to do our summer classes, unless it's detailed something along the lines of, unless COVID-19 disappears, we will be moving to online classes for the summer semester. And I know that they just sent out an email the other day saying student employees will be paid out until the end of the semester, which is very nice. But also, being a student employee, even though I am an independent, I am worried about like the stimulus. I might not exactly qualify because not all college students do qualify. Now, if you're an independent on your FAFSA and everything, then you might be eligible, but I'm also a student employee, so I'm still taxed, but it's just a weird situation because it's through federal work study, so I have no idea. So I just think having to switch over to online classes when I signed up for in person in a physical setting, and now so many of us students are having to readjust to online classes, which we didn't sign up for, which are new. And I just know so many of my professors are not working with us. I know we had an extended spring break from the COVID-19 epidemic, and that pushed us a week, pushed the break a week further in. And now the assignments that we couldn't complete over, that were pushed back from spring break are expected to be due in like the same week. So 2 assignments 1 week, wrapping this up. It's just, I feel like the students are just receiving such pushback here. We haven't been taken in consideration on any of the policy changes, and it's our grade at stake. And I understand the professors are, doing everything they can. But it's just, I wish there was a little more consideration for the student.
If it
The
were made
students are the
available,
ones who are paying for it.
If it were made available, would you want them to offer a refund for the semester or something like that?
Completely, Dan. I would prefer to redo this semester. I think about the graduating students that were supposed to graduate this semester. Now they can't walk. Now their GPAs may have been affected, and this is their final semester. They didn't get to do it right. I didn't get to do this semester right. I am in an education course as I want to be a teacher. So to have this shifted online has just been such a hindrance to my GPA. And I have a proud, and it's not the highest, but a 3.4 GPA, and to have this semester and everything that's happened to maybe impact that just scares the hell out of me. And I worry for so many more students that are in such a worse predicament than even I am. So now some people are stuck at campus because they already paid for it. Some people are stuck in unsafe living situations back at home with their parents. You know, what about LGBTQ plus students? I'm done rambling, but there are so many people that this has affected. And the fact that because I'm a college student, I might not qualify for a stimulus package. I am repaying so much in federal loans by the end of this. And it's just disgusting that college students have really been kicked to the curb, and especially the college students that fall under the category of working poor.
Yeah, my son Dylan just got a job at San Jose State University in the fall, and he's working from home now. They closed all the classes, but you know, for a longer term, who knows what this could mean for him and his job. It's administrative, event planning and things like that. He can still work from home for now, but as things progress, if they stay closed, I don't know what that's gonna mean for him.
I had said that I saw two memes on Facebook, and that was one of them. I named one. The other one was a group of people holding like a 10-foot stick, 10-foot pole, pushing on a door marked April, and they were like peeking around the corner to push this door slightly open, you know, and that's the feeling.
Yeah.
You know, we want it to end, but we don't want it to end prematurely.
Yeah, the next couple of weeks are gonna tell a lot. We're on the brink of something world changing here. So
Hopeful too that the changes are positive. You know, just I'm noticing, you know, some of the positive things at work, just being more health conscious, being safer. You know, there's a lot of the things that we're adapting to right now that, you know, are good practices to keep going long term.
I agree. I think there's a lot of good things coming out of this bad situation. One of the really popular things, like explosive, was a Facebook page that people in a small group of people in Maine made, and it was called Quarantine Karaoke. It came out like March 13th or something, maybe, you know, and 2 days later they had 33,000 members, and then 2 days after that it went up to over 113,000.
That's amazing.
And now, you know, now it's global.
I love how, you know, we're kind of talking about like kind of trying to find the positive in all of this, and this whole quarantine karaoke. Like, I just feel like, you know, in, you know, a quarantine situation, what else are you going to do besides like video chat with somebody, or do a podcast over the phone across the country?
Finding methods and to still be there for each other, to support each other, and that's what's wonderful about this. So tragedy does bring a lot of positives.
With all the uncertainty that's going on right now, you know, we're seeing, you know, the best of humanity also, and we're learning healthier ways of living, and, you know, hopefully cleaner and greener ways too. You know, less consumption. And, you know, I hope that these are all lessons that we can take with us, assuming that we make it out of this pandemic.
So, Dan, as we're doing final thoughts, are you going to bring us home like you did last week?
I don't have it in me this time, but along with what Peace was saying, these are, you know, like, and I think we talked about it last week too. Where this virus has really hit hard has been the most transformational ecological changes. I mean, you know, the carbon dioxide's out of the air. People are, you know, the earth is reclaiming itself, and that's a beautiful thing. And what it portends for the future, I don't know, but I mean, I think a lot this has been an age of awakening for so many people. I mean, we're in the information age. More and more people are getting their information from alternative sources. People are waking up to things. Not enough, but a lot of people. And I think this particular incident is gonna lead to a tremendous awakening. And that's what we need if we're gonna save ourselves. I mean, the future is a social one. The future is one where we all work together. I mean, if you look at this particular crisis, everyone but the United States is collaborating, is working together, is doing things to combat this crisis, because it's a global pandemic.
Yep.
And those are the places that are having success. I mean, the future, I think that things are going to move so quickly that by our next podcast we're gonna have more stuff to talk about with this. So it's exciting times. I mean, it's a rough road ahead, but we're on the road to change, I think, and that's positive.